Hey growing people, welcome back. We've got a treat for you today. We've got fresh apricots from the garden. I'm going to be making an infused alcohol, and this is my setup that I've got going so far. So let's go ahead and get started with the process. So after washing my apricots, what I want to do is I want to weigh the fruit that I have. I am trying to write down the recipe this time instead of just trying to remember what I did a couple years ago when I first made this recipe. So I want to know exactly what is going into this so that I can repeat it. So I think I'm aiming for about 2 pounds of apricots, and that will do just fine for me. This is my half-gallon mason jar that I'm going to use, and I'm just going to set that aside while I prepare my fruit. So next I want to cut my apricots in half and remove the pits. I'm going to set those aside later and hold on to them, and I will show you what I do with those at a later date. So I'm also going to remove any blemishes or dark spots or marks on any of the fruit that I see. You want to use the best of your fruit, whatever you're using to infuse into your alcohol. You want it to be pristine or as pristine as possible. So that is what I'm doing here. Now, I haven't made this recipe in 2 years because the only time we really get apricots is when we have a really rainy spring. And this year was a year that we happened to have very abnormally rainy winter and spring, but that is okay because that is how we get these amazing apricots. And we haven't had that happen for 2 years. I don't think we've got a crop at all last year. So I'm glad that I can do this recipe again so I can write it down. And the next time we have an abundance of apricots, I can do the same again. So here some of them are really easy to open up just by pulling them, and some I had to cut. This is also a great way to inspect your fruit and see that everything is not bruised and not rotten or has any problems like that. I know that one of the other apricots that I was eating, I opened it up before I ate it, and there was like an earwig that fell out of it. And I mean, I still ate it. It was delicious. But yeah, this is a good way to check and see that all your fruit is actually what you want to use and fresh and wonderful. So what I'm going to do now is I am slicing my apricot halves and also turning them into cubes. I want the alcohol to have as much contact with the fresh fruit as possible, so that is why I'm chopping it smaller. You could leave it in halves, you can leave it in slices. I suppose you could even put it in a blender and make like apricot puree. I guess if that's easier for you. It wouldn't really matter, I suppose, because you're going to strain out all of the fruit later on anyhow, but this is the process that works for me, and I'm going to continue using it. So after everything is nicely chopped, I'm just going to fill up my mason jar. I find that using a glass jar works for me. It is really easy to clean, it's really easy to see what's going on inside, and that is what I used last time, so I am repeating that again this time. And you can see I have just about 4 cups of fresh fruit. So from those 2 pounds of apricots, I got 4 cups. And the next step is to pour in the alcohol. I am using vodka. You can use any spirit that you enjoy. I find that a neutral spirit is really good for infusing like a fruit into it. You can use any brand of vodka that you like, or any brand of any spirit that you like. And I want to make sure there's enough alcohol and fruit inside of the jar. And at this point, I have my label on it. It shows that I have just over 6 cups of fresh fruit and vodka in the mason jar, and I know I'm forgetting something. From my last recipe, I am forgetting the brandy. That's what I used last time. I should have made it 50-50, but I added so much vodka before I forgot that I didn't have brandy in it. So this ratio will just have to do. And that is pretty much it. I'm going to leave it here to ferment for about 2 months. And then I'm going to come back and show you what the next process is, because it's not quite over. But I'm so excited to start the process. I hope you try this. I hope you enjoy it, learn something, and let us know how it works out for you down below in the comments. And we'll see you later on in the fermenting process. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next video.